If you finish the first introductory lesson for squaring, you could do this as some extra practice. You could do some adding or subtracting of squares. So let's say I want to do 2 squared plus 4 squared. What does 2 squared equal? 4. And what does 4 squared equal? 16. So what you have to remember is that your units have to be lined up, one on top of the other. And in 16, the 6 is the unit. 4 is in the units place, so my 6 has to go there, and my 1 goes there. And what I always tell my students is that there's a wall here. Sometimes we draw it in to help us out. There's a wall here that our units have to be leaning up against. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10. 0 goes below, our 1 goes in the 10's place. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 2 squared plus 4 squared equals 20. Let's try another one. What if we have 3 squared plus 5 squared? What does 3 squared equal? We know that's 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and you can use your sheet that you made from the introductory lesson. 3 times 3 is 9. What's 5 squared? What's 5 times 5? 25. And again, remember, we've got to line our units up against that wall. So the 9 and the 5 are lined up. 9 plus 5 is 14. 4 goes below, 1 goes above in the neighbor's house. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 squared plus 5 squared equals 34. Let's do one more. Let's do 6 squared plus 9 squared. What does 6 squared equal? 6 times 6 equals 36. And 9 squared equals 81. 6 plus 1, remember we always start on our unit side when we add. 6 plus 1 is 7. 3 plus 8, 11. We don't have any neighbors to give to, so we put both those digits below. 6 squared plus 9 squared equals 117. So you can also do this with subtracting, but what you have to make sure you do is whichever square you put on top has to be bigger than the square you put below. So let's say we do 10 squared minus 5 squared. See how the 10 squared, 10 is bigger than 5. You always have to make sure it's bigger on top. So 10 squared equals what? Yeah, 100. I'm going to put each of those in a separate square. That makes it a lot easier to line up my categories, my units, my tens, my hundreds, units, tens, hundreds. 5 squared equals what? 5 times 5 is 25. Remember, we're going to line our units up against that wall right here. Sometimes it's easier if you write it backwards so you know that you've got that unit against the wall. Okay, 100 minus 25. I cannot take 5 from 0, so I got to borrow from my neighbor. My neighbor has none, so I got to go to the next neighbor. I got to borrow from the 1. That makes it 0. If I take 1 away from the 1, it's 0, and I'm going to give it to the neighbor here. We can't go back to this neighbor. We always have to go in order. So now 5 take away 0, I don't have enough, but I can borrow from this neighbor now. This neighbor has enough. If I borrow 1, it's a 9. 10 take away 1 is 9, and I can give it to this 0 now. 10 take away 5, 5. 9 take away 2, 7, and then we just have a 0, so we don't need to do anything with that. So 10 squared minus 5 squared is 75. Let's try another. Let's try 7 squared minus 4 squared. So 7 squared is 49. 4 squared is 16. 9 take away 6, can we do that? Yes, because the 9 is bigger than the 6. If we have 9 fingers, I can take 6 away. I have enough. It's only if the top number is smaller than the bottom number that you have to borrow from the neighbor. We don't have to do that. So we've got 3. 9 take away 6 is 3, and 4 take away 1 is also 3. So 7 squared minus 4 squared is 33. So those are some things you can do to practice your squares of numbers. Not only are you practicing your adding and subtracting, but you're getting those square amounts memorized as you're doing this work.